Welcome to Miss Martin Muses and another Monday Musings. I am now trying to make this my regular schedule once again because I had to stop it surgery. But yay, I am now 6 weeks into my recovery, coming up on 7 weeks. So yay, it's almost over, but I have reached 1,120 subs. Now, I love history. I am a historian. I have a degree in it. So I like to celebrate milestones with it. So what happened in 1120? Well, we're going to go into that because it actually has a connection to House of the Dragon. I have been doing a lot of House of the Dragon coverage because I watch it. And Fire and Blood is a work by George R. R. Martin that I enjoy more than A Song of Ice and Fire. For one reason, number one, rather, it's finished. Number two, it is written like a history book, and it is amazing. It is so much fun. And since I love English history, stories of the English monarchs, etc., I have a bit of a speciality. When I studied in college, I studied Renaissance and Reformation studies. And my thesis was then how a lot of it affected America and the development of the First Amendment, the reason why we do not have a state church. And I know that that is so exciting for all of you, but let's talk about the heir for a little more than a day, because that is what happened. Now, in House of the Dragon, Damon said that in the TV show. I think they mostly had him say it, but maybe they were making it a little bit suspicious. But yes, he was like an heir for a day. And either way, it really kind of hurt his reputation. People thought he was being insensitive because the baby had died very shortly after being born. But the real life events that led to the anarchy, I didn't title it in here because for some reason YouTube got mad at me for using that in my title the last time, because maybe they thought I was trying to promote anarchy. I am not, but it is called the anarchy. It is a historical thing. Who knows? We'll see if this gets demonetized because I just said this. Because what was going on was Henry I, who was the third king after William the Conqueror, he had an heir. He had an heir, but sadly, the heir died in this horrible shipwreck. And not just his son, several other nobles, as well as many of his bastard children. Hello, it is Chris Sant. Hello. Yeah, we're going a little bit into history. We are doing Monday Musings. I almost said mid-morning musings. No, it is Monday Musings. And we are looking at the Air Force Day because it is 1120 AD in which this occurred, and I have 1120 subs. So we're going to look at this a little bit, and also other things that go along with the number 1120. Apparently, there's an IRS thing with that. What? YouTubing being weird and petty? I'm shocked. Yeah. Well, to be fair, it could be kind of subversive. The stream got demonetized, not me, obviously. Wouldn't that be awful? I'm sitting here talking about Henry I, and then that loses my channel. But yeah, there were also events in the War of the Roses that inspired the events in Song of Ice and Fire and in Fire and Blood. But definitely the anarchy is pretty much Fire and Blood. Because what ends up happening is that leaves one female heir to him, or rather one heir to Henry I, and it's Matilda. Henry I, makes her his heir and has all of the nobles swear over relics that she is the heir to the throne. However, when her father dies, her cousin, Stephen, who is going to be listed as King Stephen, he is the one who becomes a king, or rather, becomes the alternate king, and they have a big old civil war that goes on for more than a decade. Very bloody. At the end of the day, one could argue Stephen won, but he died, and so then the only heir is going to be Matilda's son, who will be the famous Henry II. So it also has the same ending as House of the Dragon, if you will. Spoiler alert, but maybe you have to really dig deep to figure that out. Matilda doesn't die. She sticks around and gets to see her son being the king. So let's have a little look at what happened in 120, the White Ship disaster. That's not it. This is it. Boom. All right. The White Ship, or in French, some nice French thing, or something in Latin, was a vessel transporting many nobles, including the heir to the British throne, rather, the English throne. And it sank in the English Channel near the Normandy coast off of Barfleur during a trip from France to England on the 25th of November, 1120. You see, that is our number. Only one of approximately 300 people aboard, a butcher from Rouen, survived. Those who lost their lives, I don't know if we're allowed to say that word, included William, I won't pronounce his name, the only legitimate son and heir of Henry I of England. So Prince William, his half-sibling, Matilda of Perche. See, I love that. He had one of his bastards was named Matilda as well as his legitimate, Henry I's legitimate daughter, and Richard of Lincoln, the Earl of Chester, all these other names. With William's death, the king had no obvious successor, and his own death 15 later set off a succession crisis over in a period of civil war in England known as the Anarchy. Oh, I was right. It was nearly 20 years. Yeah, so it was bad. It was called one of the costliest shipwrecks in history because if this hadn't happened and William had become king, England would not have had one of those awful civil wars. But then maybe we wouldn't have had House of the Dragon. Though the way it's going right now, I'm not entirely sure that's a good thing. My goodness, they messed it up. But Fire and Blood is fun. Everyone should read Fire and Blood. So, yeah, it was really tragic, and allegedly, yeah, that Prince William, he got into a boat to survive, but then his half-sister was like, "Oh, help me," and he comes back to get her, and then he drowns, and it's just awful. There's a lot of different legends surrounding it that we're not going into, but it does say, yes, a direct result of his death was a period known as the Anarchy. So, if you want to have fun and read more about it or go into more detail in one of my live streams, one of my history live streams, please go ahead and do so. I enjoy it. And it also led to the Plantagenets getting on the throne. That's why I called it House of the Plantagenet when I did so. So, I do say he was heir for a little more than a day. He was, what was he, about 20? I forget what his exact age was, William. But yes, we lost the heir to the throne and it set off civil war. Lots of things rhyme with the House of the Dragon, so I think you might enjoy that if you watch the show. Chris Ann says, I must be the only weirdo on planet Earth who hasn't read or seen anything from George R. R. Martin. No, you're not. I mean, it's a taste. There's many good things about his work. I think many of the worst things about his works are things that aren't even related to it because a lot of people associate the TV show with George R. R. Martin, both TV shows now, that yes, he had involvement early on with, but quit doing so. And a lot of the nastier things that are shown on the TV show Game of Thrones, even when he was involved, that is not in the book. But yeah, I can understand why you haven't. And I would not recommend getting involved with any of his works, at least until he finishes A Song of Ice and Fire. But his knowledge of history is great, and he has a lot of good insights. He has a lot of bad insights too, don't get me wrong, I am not crazy about him when he makes a complete Egypt of himself. And I have a love-hate relationship with him. I think I like his works more than I like him, but sometimes he's just so spot on, even with his observations on history and fantasy and other writers that, it's worth reading. And he's a force right now. So, yeah, I like it. But Fire and Blood's more fun for me than his fiction, if you will. Fiction. Well, it's all fiction, but it's fake fiction. That's what I've been told. Yes. Yes. Don't watch House of the Dragon. I'm regretting that I've watched it. Yeah, if y'all watched House of the Dragon last night, it was a good episode if it was a standalone. But there are so many problems with the writing on the show. They've changed so many things that it's like season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones. At first, I was being generous and saying it was more like season 5, but it's like they fast forward into bad, crazy town. So yeah, it's very disappointing. I do have a video upcoming this Thursday. I decided to release about some of those. First of all, he leaves out one of the greatest. They're leaving out one of the greatest characters ever, who is actually like a moral center and a driving center of the plot, and that is Nettles. Really, really affects Damon's character, and they're trying to turn her into Rhaena, taking her role, which not only breaks lore but breaks narrative, it breaks character, it breaks all these sort of things. So it's falling apart incredibly quickly. It is Ancient One. Yay! Welcome to Miss Martin Muse's Castle of Roses, our beloved rose in a flower pot that somehow levitates. Check her out as seen here. Thank you. Hugs. Like that button if you enjoy her content. Thank you very much for being here. Well, thank you, Ancient One. Yeah, last night on House of the Dragon, like I said, it was a well-paced episode, but it was a good episode. It was an enjoyable episode with a few weird things. The whole thing with Allison. See, Allison's not even supposed to really be what she's doing right now. And it's like they were like, oh, since we changed Allison, what do we have her do? Oh, we'll have her go float in a lake. Gee. I think she was supposed to be thinking of removing herself from the planet, but I honestly don't know, and I don't care. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Hello, all of you and all of you that will be coming. I'm just being a happy little camper having the Monday musings and hopefully visiting with you all. So please, also in Monday musings, it is an open discussion. So if you want to talk about anything else, please go ahead and do so. Or, we will do other things. Let me put this banner down at the bottom because I've told you some of the ones we're going to be musing about. We're going to be musing about the 1120. We already did so. And the anarchy and how it inspired the Dance of Dragons. Yep. Another thing that parallels the Dance of Dragons is Henry I did remarry after his first wife died. I believe in childbirth too. Well, women died in childbirth all the time, but he did have a second wife. But there were no heirs from that second marriage. I suspect if there had been, like in House of the Dragon, and they had had a son, there just would have been no question. It would have gone right to the son. But they didn't. So there were no rivals from the second marriage. Makes for good drama, though, for the fake history. Yeah, so House of the Dragon is going off the rails faster than anything you could possibly imagine. What else did they do last night in the episode? Oh, yeah, they gave Rhaenyra's role to, Jace's role to Rhaenyra. No, not Rhaenyra. It was that worm lady, the Misery, the white worm. Jace is the one who comes up with the idea of the red sewing, of inviting the Bastards to come and do an audition, if you will, for the role for getting to ride a dragon. So they give it to Misery. That was kind of messed up. They also mess up some of the claiming of the dragons, but I can forgive that. There are some changes I can forgive. That really didn't change much. What's unforgivable is not having Nettles. That is unforgivable. It will always be unforgivable. It will be unforgivable from now to the end of time. What else? Great scenes with Aegon and Larys. They're actually setting up something there, which is going to make sense. Their main problem is that they've just been treading water for so long that now we're going into the 8th episode, the season finale. And I honestly don't know what they're gonna do, 'cause we know they're not doing the Battle of the Gullet. We know that they are not, maybe at this point, not even doing the Red Fork. They don't have time. If the things I'm thinking that they're saving for the final episode, that's not a season finale. That is boring. I mean, we were supposed to have the Dance of Dragons happen, and it didn't. So again, now we gotta wait till season 3 for it to get properly revving up. A lot of some of the beats that were in this episode 7, should have been in episode 1, 2, 3, and 5, if that says anything. That's why House of the Dragon is going off the rails like hell in a handbasket. But my goodness. My goodness gracious. All right, so we have the air for the day. We have the inspiration for Dance of Dragons. We say House of the Dragons, not good at all. At this season, they're gone off the rails. We're now in, heck, we're like in season 8, episode 5 territory at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if someone starts to ring a bell and that makes Rhaenyra go crazy. Anyways, all right. And again, as you all come in, what would you like to muse? Okay, what else? Let's throw out some the Rings of Power. It's coming and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt really badly. They pretty much said at San Diego Comic-Con over the weekend that there will be a same-sex character. Let me put it to you that way. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they say that first of all, they said we're gonna be more faithful to the book. What book? Tell me which book, because they're sure not using the book, and we know they don't even have the rights to this story. But also, yeah, that's definitely something that J.R.R. Tolkien was into. They like to say, well, if J.R.R. Tolkien had lived today, you don't know that. You don't know that. That man was hardcore traditional Catholic. It was the center of his life, the center of his work. Just come out and admit it. Just say it. Yeah, we're using J.R.R. Tolkien's work, but we're doing our own thing, and screw him. We don't care what he wanted. We're not trying to honor him. We're just trying to do our own story. But don't give me this gaslighting BSSS that, oh, well, what we're doing is we're doing what Tolkien would do, because completely, yeah, this is it. Oh, well, if that's the case, then why did you wait until the man who was the heir, if you will, I forget what the word is, help me out, the person, the custodian of the works of his son, Christopher Tolkien. They waited till he died to go off and do this stuff. Why do you think Thomas Shippey left? Though he was fired, but I think there's reasons for that. Yeah, just don't gaslight us. It's like what happened with this whole Olympics thing. My goodness gracious. Now they're trying to say, no, it was Dionysus. It's like, yes, we know the part that was Dionysus. We know art. We're Catholics, okay? Have you ever been to Rome? And there's loads of pagan works that were done by great Catholic writers. No, sorry, artists. We don't have a problem with Dionysus, though that would have been weird anyways. But it was if you look at the layout, even the shapes that they were making with it, it was the Last Supper. And then they show this picture of Dionysus from the Dutch dude in 17th century. That's not how it's laid out. Okay? So don't be doing that. Don't be doing that lying. Don't you be lying to me. I actually have here. Oh. All right, let's bring this up just for fun. Shout out to Lady Gravemaster who pointed this out. First of all, do you think we all don't know what Da Vinci is? And the fact that the different producers are all saying different things, the artist is saying different things. The producer said, oh, yeah, it was the Last Supper. And apparently one of the captions was Last Supper. The lady in the middle said it was the Last Supper. or that she was now like the Jesus or something, something nice and blasphemous. And here's the thing about blasphemy. I think blasphemy is bad, obviously, but in arguing against this, it's the fact that, first of all, this is supposed to be a family show. Second of all, why? Why are you doing this at the Olympics? If it was some avant-garde thing, uh, go maybe even something at the Moulin Rouge. Well, okay, do it. But you know what you're getting when you do that, right? But this whole gaslighting is like, that's not the last episode. Everyone just is stupid. They just don't know Dionysus. And the guy who did it's like, yes, it's not. It's this. It's just Dionysus. If you are an artist and you don't know what you did with that layout, I'm not going to show it because I have a real issue. I'm sick of seeing the actual images. You've all seen it, right? It's laid out like the Last Supper, not like the Feast of the Gods. It is, like I said, the triangles, the shapes, the centerpiece. And they even, when they were doing the centerpiece, and you see, an artist knows this, an artist knows Christian imagery. Just because you don't even have to enjoy it, but you do have to show it. Well, check this out. I'm going to go ahead and share this. Oh, I already shared it. Let me do this a little bit bigger. Well, then why did they do this? Yeah, check this out. Look at the chick in the middle. I'm not showing it, but she has this halo thing. She's in blue. That's not in the Last Supper of the Gods. And making a heart right in front, like the Immaculate Heart of Mary. You're telling me an artist didn't see that? An artist didn't figure that out? Nobody said, ooh, that looks like the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Maybe, yeah. No. So don't be gaslighting us. Every single image in there is exactly what it is. Just own it. You wanted to crap on your guests. You wanted to crap on everyone watching it. Well, you achieved it. But you know what? It was disgusting, says Chrysanth. It was nasty. It was wrong. Just on a secular level. I mean, they did say that they wanted to unite people, and I think they did, because all Christians, most other religions, and atheists, people that don't believe at all, I know, are like, this is weird, wrong, disgusting, and completely not in keeping with the spirit of the Olympic Games. But yeah, they're lying. I mean, of course, the guy's going to come out and say, it was Dionysus. Like, yes, that's what the thing was in the middle, but it was definitely a mix. And if he really didn't know that, then he's no artist. And everyone else, like, there wasn't one person that said, gee, that looks almost exactly like that. Oh, let's put her in blue and make her put the heart right in front of her, like the Immaculate Heart of Mary. If that was an accident, there should have been one person saying, dudes, look what you're doing. Yeah, it was nasty, it was terrible, and it was wrong. Remember, what would you like to muse? Because that's what Monday Musings are about, and I'm going to try to do midweek musings. But yes, I talked about the anarchy, and yay me, 1,120 subs. Thank you to everybody. Maybe make it 1,121 to make my day. And so we talked about the thing that kicked off the anarchy. There was an heir for more than a day who went to the great beyond, sadly. If he had not died, English history would have been a lot less bloody. And there was never anyone seriously considered to be the queen, and she became the queen, obviously, until Queen Mary I in the 16th century. So we had Queen Mary I, then we had Queen Elizabeth II, and a few more queens, but not a lot. But we did have absolute male primogeniture until 2013, when it was not male. Okay, it was male primogeniture. Now we have what's called absolute primogeniture, which means just whoever comes first is first, whether they're a man or a woman. That was in 2013 for the British monarchy. You can look at little charts to see which countries do what. Chrisanne says, congratulations on hitting 1,120 subs. Well, yeah, I was excited because, I'm a historian, so I always like that kind of stuff. Well, what else do I say we're going to be talking about? Okay, we talked about Rings of Power. Anyone in the chat actually watching Rings of Power? Anyone planning on watching the Rings of Power in the next one? No. Yeah, we're gonna have Ints. We're gonna have Ints. They are going to be apparently the female Ints, which there was a letter that Tolkien talks about that. I will be making a video, and they're gonna use that for their justification for whatever awful things they do with it. Oh gosh, I can only imagine. Oh, we have Tom Bombadil, who should never ever be in like anything. He's just too much of an enigma to do properly, in my humble opinion. But yes, they're gonna be doing that this season, and they're changing it. They're like, "Oh, we're faithful to the book," but they are having him like, "Oh, well, wouldn't it be neat if he traveled around? Oh, and then he's gonna look up and have like his little stars to see what's going on." A complete misunderstanding of what the hell is Tom Bombadil. But of course they are. And oh, speaking of blasphemy, doing this to J.R. Tolkien is just, and his work and the sensibilities. Because speaking of Catholic imagery and all that, all right, I don't think it's an accident that they're doing this kind of desecration in the Ring Sparrow. Congrats, Teresa. Well, thank you, Nordporeal life form. Yes, we were talking at House of the Dragon last night, weren't we? Oh my goodness gracious. Thanks for being a part of the after show. Well, thank you for letting me on. Yes, nothing is sacred. Yes, we were ranting about House of the Dragon last night. I think that we're one of the few voices that is actually vocal about how we feel about it. You will find it on Nordporeal life form. You will find it definitely on mine. You will find it. The Critical Meister does it. He's just someone I found. I don't know too much about him, but he has some really good insights. Also, tonight on Sporkings, we've been dragging it through the mud, but we do have a mix. We do have some people on there that are enjoying it, and the regular gang though is we have some issues. We do. The same issues that a lot of people have, that I have, and that you'll see on Nordporeal Light Forms 1. So if you want a dissenting view, we're speaking out, because I think when things go even more off the rails, I think we're going to be shown that we were right. Well, look what they're doing with Shariko or whatever. I can never pronounce his name. The admiral who led the fleet in the Battle of the Gullet. They're having it being played by a woman. Yeah, some people blocked me for saying, that role is supposed to be a man. And apparently there's a reason why some people got mad at me, because I think they were trying to say I was misgendering the person, because as it turns out, it's a kind of a woman. But I don't want to say it because I don't want to get in trouble. But either way, I think, whether it's a trans woman, whether it is a woman, it's not what was written in the works. It was a man in the book. So it's going to be really weird in the next episode. And it's going to be even weirder when we get to the Battle of the Gullet in season 3. But as I was also saying last night on Nordporeal's channel, we're all going to be in the retirement home. We're ready for the retirement home by the time we even get there. Because for goodness sake. And they take 2 years to do this. Now, maybe some of the 2 years is the post-production, because you would have to be an idiot, in my humble opinion, to say that those dragon scenes were bad. Those dragon scenes were magnificent last night. And if the writing had been this good, or if we'd have seen more of this earlier, I think the season would have gone better. Some of the delay this time around was to do with the writer's strike. And some are saying, well, the writer's strike, the show's being affected by the writer's strike. And I would say no, because the writer's strike didn't invent these beat changes. The writer's strike didn't make rain and nettles. Okay. The structure of the season had nothing to do with the writer's strike. And from here on out, we're going to be getting it every 2 years because of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So they're going to do Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and we get House of the Dragon, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, I think there's 3 seasons planned, from what I understand, for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which might be a good show. But they fooled us before. Martin, though, seems a lot more enthusiastic about that one than he is about the House of the Dragon. Well, because they messed up the House of the Dragon. He's been pretty vocal about that. I have some videos that will be dropping Thursday. I felt like I couldn't really drop it last night because of certain things that didn't happen that I was expecting to happen. It's ridiculous. What does Nor Portlia say? He says, "You watch early Game of Thrones, especially Tyrion's trial scene, and watch this. It's like we're in a bizarre reverse." Uh-huh. Yeah, some people are going to have to owe Benioff and Weiss a huge apology. Yes, it went to Hades in a handbasket. That was when they departed from the source material. Oh my gosh, isn't that a theme? When you depart the source material, yes. But yeah, Tyrion scene, it was very well written. And I think it would be a disservice to say that Benioff and Weiss sucked in the early seasons. They still were the ones in charge, though they planted a few seeds that were going to mess up later. But for the most part, yes, that whole thing with the trial. And some people are trying to gaslight and say, oh, well, you don't want people to talk. Isn't that what they didn't dance in the Game of Thrones? It's like, yes, they did. And it was magnificent. There were some great scenes like that in House of the Dragon season 1. Patty Considine, I think his scenes, the scenes with Viserys the First, my gosh, and the chemistry, him and Damon, and even some of the stuff with confrontations with Alicent and Rhaenyra. Yeah, it was good. And the way it ended with Rhaenyra turning and looking murder into this camera, it made me so excited for this season. Norporial says, I wonder if it will be a half-hour show. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how many episodes it's going to have. It is based on a short story. I really hope they stick to the source material, but we'll see. I think they might have to, though, because there are some things that are set in the House of the Seven Kingdoms. Oh, wait, House of Seven Kingdoms, whatever. A Knight of Seven Kingdoms, Duncan Egg, that will play into A Song of Ice and Fire. But if you look at it like they're two parallel universes, which apparently that's what they're doing, if this show is set in the House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones world, I guess it won't matter. Maybe they will change. I don't know. We do know that Martin is working with them in this. He's been visiting the sets. Maybe he's gonna put his foot down a little more with this. I don't know how that works. Maybe he just doesn't care. I'm hoping this all means that because he is doing what he's doing, I sincerely hope it means that this means The Winds of Winter is coming out and A Dream of Spring. Nordporial said, Dendaver Masterclass compared to Payne and McKay, and especially Rafe. Oh, gosh, yes. Oh, gosh, yeah. Well, look at these guys. They're script doctors. Nothing against script doctors. We all know the script doctor. But they have no credits to it. I wonder why. They want to get people who don't know how to write, and we can see it. I don't know if it's because everyone that could write said, oh, hell no, you're not going to have my name tainted by this, or if it was they wanted people like that because they knew that they were malleable. Now Ryan Condal, a shame Miguel Sapochnik left. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Makes me wonder if there were other things going on, or if it was simply he was like, yeah, I'll give you season one. But you have to be completely fair. You, meaning a person, has to be completely fair to House of the Dragon season 1 in episode 8 when Viserys gets his butt out of bed to arrive in the throne room. And, I'm getting chills almost thinking about it. You see, that's why I think we're so upset with season 2. And then the crown falls off and Daemon helps him up and puts the crown on him. And they're doing it for Rhaenyra. See, that's what's so inconsistent. Daemon never wanted to take anything. I mean, he was doing what he was doing for Rhaenyra. Now, if he had a different motivations, fine. But no, he never faltered on that. This whole king consort, he's the prince consort. And it's stupid that they keep trying to have Daemon do that. The only way they can save this part, what they've done to Damon this season is if it was like the weird magic, turned him into a weirdo. I think the Sworn Sword is gonna be the full season. Oh, okay, thank you. I feel they will get ahead of the source material like A Song of Ice and Fire did. Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. I think that if you are going to enjoy George R. R. Martin's work right now, you have to just enjoy it as is and not think ahead, not think about A Song of Ice and Fire. I really hope that whoever runs the estate of George R. R. Martin when he goes to the great beyond is a selfish bastard and says, I don't care what he said, I'm hiring someone to finish it the same way they had Brandon Sanderson finish The Wheel of Time. Now, yay, Brandon Sanderson. Rather, Robert Jordan. Now, Robert Jordan was completely on board with that, and he left behind notes and notes and notes. I have that in my biography video here if you want to look under authors. Sadly, I had to take down the Robert E. Howard one. I may have to re-edit or redo it because I mentioned too much about how he met his end. I digress. And his wife handpicked Brandon Sanderson to do so. If that happens, I'm going to be fine with that with A Song of Ice and Fire. I also feel Chrysanth says, I also kind of feel people in general don't know how to write anymore. It's rarely that I see, it's very rarely I see quality writing. You are correct. But now that I'm thinking about it, is it that we don't have people that know how to write anymore, or they're not hiring people who know how to write? I love that moment. Yes. Oh, it is Salty Traveling Sea. Hello. Did you see? I am at 1,120 subs, which makes me so excited because I'm a historian rather. And it was the year 1,120 when the White Ship disaster happened. This show, said Salty Traveling Sea, is so dumb. Can't wait to stop enduring its. Yeah, you're not the only person I know that is done in just waiting to the end of the season. Viserys moment, SUP, Salty. Sup, oh, sup, yes, Viserys moment. Yes, I got you. It was amazing. And there were some moments that I just started searching through the stupid Damon tripping, except I stopped when I saw it was Viserys. I don't care if it's Dream Viserys. I just want to see that man act. How it fits in the rest of the story, that's another ball game. Nerdtorial Lifeform says, nobody checks work. Nobody teaches anyone anymore. They let people get away with 2 years of production only to produce very little quantity and quality. Yeah. You see, this is almost where I don't blame the writers. I blame whoever is overseeing the writers. Back when I was teaching, if I'd have seen that crap show up, I'd have been like, take it home and try it again. That was back before we were allowed to do that. Education is different now. But yes, it's not good quality writing. I've also said previously that when I was a 7-year-old doing my little Barbie things with the Dream Barbie house, guess what? That had more consistent plot than this season of Game of Thrones, rather House of the Dragon. My little Barbie pool parties had more tightly written scripts than that. Patty Constantine. Oh, am I saying his name wrong? Is it Constantine or is it Constantine? I thought it was. Well, never mind. He's Patty. Isn't he Irish with a name like Patty? Well, Patty is, of course, a nickname for Padraig. Let me see. Patty. Yeah, I like him. He's a good actor. Oh my gosh, be careful what you Google when you Google that. It's amazing what shows up. Viserys actor. Oh man, that also doesn't narrow it down. All right, Patty Considine. Oh, but it's pronounced Considine. Okay, who cares? He's Patty. All right, hit the like button so we get a really good finale this Sunday. Good luck with that. I was saying, what are we gonna have? What's the climax? They can't do the Red Fork. Honey wine? But that's not a climax. I mean, it could be, but is the climax going to be Corlys finally goes after him and Hawing all season? Oh yeah, you're my sons. I mean, at this point, I don't even care. I've already talked about whether the source material related to that. Is the climax gonna be Rhaena becomes Nettles? That's gonna be a climax a lot of people aren't gonna like. Maybe people that haven't read the books don't know that, but if you know what you're missing with Nettles, I'm gonna be doing a video on that. But that's not a climax. Let's just pretend, forget Nettles. Rhaena claims sheep stealer. Wow. What a season finale. Cassadine. Yeah, that's what I thought. Cassadine. Yeah. Nerd on the one hand. Oh, wait, nerd wish on the one hand. Fight me, bro. Uh-oh. I mean the after show. Ha ha ha. Damon finally leaves. Yeah, he did. Is Damon gonna do something at this point? And even though what was written was kind of ridiculous on the show last night, there were a few moments where Damon shined through. Like when that little boy was trying to lecture him when they were alone, and he kind of looked at him, did that little smirk and all that. It's like, yeah, that's the Damon I know. Or Freddy Krueger gets him in his dreams. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be awful? And kind of magnificent. At this point, I saw someone on Twitter. If you want to have fun, do the hashtag #DemDragons. Someone said, since we spent the whole season at Harrenhal, it better come alive and fight and take King's Landing next week. I forget how it was phrased, but yeah, it's like, what's going on? If they're gonna take King's Landing next week, I mean, everyone thought they were. I thought they were. I don't know how they can. I don't know how they can. Maybe they're gonna leave it out. I mean, everyone was pretty positive though about that. So, but there's only like one episode left, and then they have Tylan mud wrestling with the Admiral, who's not the Admiral. Okay. By the way, Tylan Lannister is the bomb. He's my hero. He is also one of the. Oops, I don't want to spoiler, but yes, he's awesome. Nerdporial says Rhaena is. Yes, she is. Well, I've already said that. Instead of Damon and Misery resuming their affair, it's going to be Rhaenyra and Misery having the affair. And Damon, goodness knows what they're going to have him do. Critical Drinker reference. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I like Critical Drinker. He's a good guy. Good content. What else am I going to read? Oh, shout out to the Critical Meister. He pointed out that the last scene with Rhaenyra staring down Aemond with Vhagar was just as ridiculous and useless as what Rhaenys did in episode 9 of season 1. Just check it out. Check it out, kids. She had 4 dragons to 1. She could have taken out Aemond and Vhagar. But no, she decided to stare him down. I tend to go with that interpretation. However, I will be open to the idea that they didn't know how to control their dragons at that point. On the other hand, I think they could have gone and said Dracarys and it would have ended the war then. So now we have 2 situations where the women, because they would prefer to stare instead of act, are going to cause countless death. Okay. That's my opinion. Let me know if I'm wrong on that one. But it's something I missed until it was pointed out. It's like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. Well, in Blackwood, was it him being killed? Just don't remember. It didn't happen. I need to look that up. But it was kind of silly the way it was done. Especially since he was kind of badass when he was like 11 and proposing to Rhaenyra, and when that guy teases him, he kills him. That was kind of a cool character. The script told them to do nothing. You see, there you go, because plot. It's like you almost did something good. I felt Rhaenyra was more in character for the most part last night. Oh, I can only forgive them if they bring this to the logical end. We need more seasons. Yeah, are you saying we need more seasons, or that's what the writers or the directors or the powers that be are saying? Because this should have been a 3-season show. I'm seeing it now. If they had wanted to make it 4 seasons, but in doing so, given a whole episode to Burning Mill, a whole episode to the Red Fork, the Battle of the Gullet. They better give us a whole episode of Battle of the Gullet. If they had done more things properly with Corliss, for example. If they'd have given us Nettles, they could have gone to 4 seasons without this wasting of time. Nerdporial says, this House of the Seasoned Dragon is President blah, blah, blah from Spaceballs. Oh, you are right. It's too big, but no one will say otherwise. The powers that be tell the characters what to do. Oh, even worse. Yeah, like they're little puppets. It's almost like it's breaking the fourth wall, isn't it? We're going to end up like the ending of Blazing Saddles. They're just going to walk off set. A whole episode is too ambitious for this show. You're right. Well, and look how they ruined Rhaenys. Gosh, Rhaenys is she's an awesome character. And the actress that got to play her, Eve Best, is amazing. They just kind of had her be angry woman and ruined a lot of things that she did and made us all hate her after the girl boss massacre of 129 AC. I need to find out who coined that. Not mine. I wish I'd have come up with that myself. Norporeal Lifeform says, Watchers on the Wall and Blackwater are master classes in how to show battles. Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? I remember I was sick when the Watchers on the Wall happened, and I'm lying in my bed and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. Gosh, wasn't that cool? Well, and for the most part, Rook's Rest was okay. I mean, it was really well filmed, and we did see the dragons dance a bit and seeing them in the sky, and when they came down and blew up and all that, that was amazing. But by splitting it off and having Aegon pretty much take full on fire from Aemond and Vagar, it became ridiculous. No, why? Oh, why? Even better, says the Nordporial Lifeform, the Holy Grail, where the actors get arrested by the police for murder. Murder of a decent show. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything else I'm mad about? Well, and I'm going to be talking about it tonight on Sporking's channel. We're going to be even more mad. Rage, rage, rage. I might have to change my thing. Oh, I put it in the title that we're talking House of the Dragon. So this isn't completely on topic. But of course, if there is something else upon which you would like to muse, I am open to it as always, except I have veto power if it's something I don't wish to speak about or don't want to stir things up. Because guess what? I don't stir things up. You know why I don't stir things up? Because I don't like it when things are stirred up. You know, there's people out there that can dish it out and can't take it. I'm one of those that can't take it, so I don't dish it out, which is the way more people should be. I want to see more dance. This is a Dance of the Dragons after all. Yeah. Oh, I am so worried. I am so worried. Especially when the actor who played Adam or Alan had told the director that he was looking forward to something. He said, well, you're not going to do that. There is something so amazing with Adam of Hull. You've read it, Nerdporial, so you probably know what I'm talking about, or Adam Valerian. It is so amazing. If they don't do that, and if they don't do Hugh the Hammer and Ulf the White correctly, and we know they're not going to do Nettles correctly because she's non-existent. And Rhaena can't take the place because Rhaena has her awesome badass story. Baela. Okay, I don't think they're going to take it away from Baela. I mean, because that's just too much to take it away from a black woman. I don't I don't think they would dare. But look what they're doing to Adam. They took away his claiming of the dragon. They they're sidelining Corliss, an amazing actor. Gosh darn it. They are men, so I doubt it. Yeah, yeah, they probably Adam of Hole does something so amazing. And hello, Shield Wall of Dragons. Thank you for being here. We love Adam of Hole here at Miss Smart Muse is one of my favorite characters. And Raina actually is pretty cool. This for stuff that happens later, almost toward the end. C- Oh my, oh, Kragan Stark. We haven't seen Kragan Stark yet. Black Alley. They left out Black Alley. She was supposed to be badass at the Battle of Burning Mill, and she's going to be coming back later. Love Black Alley. Love Kragan Stark. I love Jace. Though they're really not butchering Jace in this. The only thing is they're giving some of his stuff to other characters, like they gave it to Misery. I'll just call her Misery. She has so many different names, and she is miserable, so Misery. But oh my goodness. Like, for example, that scene where he is confronting Rhaenyra about why did you have sex with her and didn't you know I would turn out looking like this? I didn't mind that. That was a good addition. The only problem was that it was done slightly in context with the whole idea that he was against the bastards claiming a dragon. But at least it was consistent within their world and great actor. Great actor. And I think that they're going to keep him being a hero. They better. Or else I'm going to go medieval. Well, they made those characters like so who knows that they are a thing. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. It's like I can forgive them for doing that. I mean, there are some things that mess things up, but if they had to, because we know they have to, if they had to have certain characters that are black, and I hate that other word, people of, I think that's way too close and way too condescending. That's my personal opinion, but it makes sense. Okay, if we have to, we'll make the Valerians look like that. But they also have a black person named Nettles who is in the book. I will. I am going to be a broken record on that. And she's also an energy, a driving force in this story. And some people are saying, well, maybe it'll still happen. And maybe it's a fake out what they're doing with Raina. I don't think so. Because if it is a fake out, that's bad writing. Shieldwall Dragon says, oh, wait, we already said that. Shieldwall says, apparently it worked for the show without screwing too many things up. Yeah, it did. It did. The only thing it kind of messed up is it really did make people Rhaenyra rather look ridiculous when she was having her children. It's like, come on. On the other hand, well, frankly, what they should have done to make it make sense, they should have then had the husband, not the husband, Strong, Harwin Strong. They should have made him black because then at least that wouldn't make Rhaenyra look stupid. So there was more ambiguity about it. Yeah, why didn't they do that? I mean, while you're race swapping, let's do it. So that's some of my House of the Dragon rants. Oh yeah, I ranted about let's see, Rings of Power and more. Okay, we're on the and more. Yeah, I talked about the Olympics and the gaslighting. People obviously think we're stupid. Well, no, they know they're just trying to gaslight us. Telling a bunch of Catholics how they're supposed to understand their own art, or telling Catholics, oh, don't you know, it's the Dionysus painting. It's like, yes, we know. Who the hell do you think painted a lot of those things? Who was painting pagan things? Didn't have a problem with pagan things, but that's not what was going on. And I showed earlier, not only was it definitely Last Supper laid out, it was also imagery of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, from the clothing to the crown to her putting a heart in front of herself. And if they didn't recognize that, then they're stupid and they're bad artists. There wasn't one person that said, dudes, that looks way too much like the Last Supper and a mockery of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Okay. Oh my gosh! This just popped up. Thank you very, very much. It is the Nordporeal light form. He has given me a super sticker. And what is the super sticker? It is that a panda? No, not a panda. One up. It is a hippopotamus. Well, thank you very much for $2. Really, really do appreciate it. I love going on your show. You got some good stuff there. Everyone, please subscribe to him. And you, sir, get a rose. Thank you very much. It's always fun when they pop up, and I love it. I love it, and I do appreciate all of the support for all of you. Let's see, Nordporeal, are you okay? Here's what I'm going to do. Channel activity. No, I'm not going to put you in timeout. There you go. Gonna make you a moderator. Go ahead and share your link in the chat. Thank you very much for being here. Oh, he gives me a smiley face. Thank you very much for the smiley face. Did it work? It should have worked. Yeah. Maybe it did. Let me try it again. Add as moderator. Is it not letting me? They don't want you? No, that's ridiculous. We will see. Okay. Let me know if it's popping up for you, because maybe you're already added. Say something else, Nerdporeal, and we'll see if it works, because I want you to put that in the chat. And if not, I know I haven't blocked you. Oh, wait, let's see. Delete comment, put in user in timeout. You gotta hit 3 buttons next to my chat and you select add as moderator. Well, that's what I thought I did. It says delete, put user in timeout, ban user in their comments. What the fuck? And okay, add as moderator. It's not letting me. Well, son of a biatch. There it is. Son of a bit. Why did that take so long? Yeah, thank you. Put mouse on my chat and 3 buttons will appear. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I think it worked now. All right. So please, everyone do that. So I know that was fierce exciting. My bit boomer moment. I don't know why it wouldn't let me doing it. It says it's been added. So yes, thank you very much. So please go ahead and subscribe to him. And of course, subscribe to She-Ra Dragons, etc., etc. So it's always great to see you all. So, and again, we're winding down this party. We've been going for about an hour. I like these Monday musings. Ah, there we go. Yay. Okay, put your link in the chat. I don't know what else to say unless you all got something to say. We're going to be winding down. I have some errands I need to run. I want to go to a store and get Lake Placid, rather. Lake Placid. I guess it is a movie about a crocodile or something. I'm supposed to watch it. So I'm going to go watch it. Yeah, I'm so glad that worked, Nerdporeal. I was afraid that I was going to accidentally ban you, and that would have been awful. But I guess I could have unbanned you. So I'm going to be doing that. Doing some more reading. I'm reading the Cleric Quintet by R.A. Salvatore. I'm in the first book. Everyone should read old fantasy. I am reading the Robert Jordan books. I am still in book 2. I've been reading book 2 forever because things happened. Life happened and I got into other stuff. There we go. Yeah, so go ahead and sub. So please stay tuned. Eventually, I'm going to be doing one of those reading Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time for the first time. I want to wait till I finish the second book before I do so. Of course, obviously, that TV show has gone to Hades in a handbasket, so we do not endorse that. Not here at Miss Martin Muses. Yeah, video retrospectives, live after shows, live tutorials, chill streams. Yes. Are you going to be doing it for Rings of Power? I know some people don't want to. because of it hurts too much. I am at a point where I can watch The Rings of Power and not be upset because I know how different it is from what we know is the story. So I usually watch it while I'm on the treadmill, to be honest. I just put it on my phone and I'm like, that's not Galadriel. That's not Elrond. That's not anything. That's just weird people dressed up for Halloween. I'm considering it. I want to get Feanor on board. Hiking Feanor. Oh, holy crap, will he will give birth to a canary, won't he? Shieldwall Dragon says, I've been really relying on you to find out what happened in the show. Is book accurate or not? Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to be doing a little more research this week because the episode really took a turn I didn't expect. I wasn't expecting what happened with Damon to happen with the big sword. That's another thing. We've been spending the entire series nothing but that weird Alan's Rivers stuff, and she didn't even make an appearance last episode. If I cared, well, she wasn't there for me to care. I have no desire to see Rings of Power season 1 suck bad. Yeah. Oh, it was laughable. I mean, even the writing, it's like, what was it? The opening narration? It's like, it was so long ago, there was no sun, yet there was light. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm one of those that gets a little bit defensive, however, in favor of the actors. Some of the action scenes really are not the fault of the actors. They're doing what they're being told to do. If you've ever acted or known actors, they'll be honest with you as long as you keep your big mouth shut. Yes, precious. So when people say, I've got information from this actor, I've got information, I've got a source on the set. No, they don't. Or if you did, you no longer have it. Sources, you don't talk on a source because it can get them fired. Rennie is here. Hey, peeps, please help in sharing the stream. Trish deserves more views. She's awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, things have been going really well. I should get a surgery more often. Now, a lot of it, I think, has to do with content and stuff. And all you great people, a lot of you really chipped in and helped me out. And now that I'm feeling a lot better, I am wanting to make this a regular thing. Time I can't always commit to, but I can commit to a Monday musings and midweek musings because it makes me happy and I don't feel as much rage. Like right now, I don't feel rage. So I think that I like to get a lot of things off my chest. But thank you. Yeah, Rennie's awesome. She doesn't have content on her YouTube, but you can please follow her on Twitter. And she was part of our book club for quite a while. We did it for 2 weeks. 2 years rather, and it was fun. It was so much fun every Saturday, but all the good things come to an end. We did Lord of the Rings, we did Terry Brooks, we did Feist. Oh, they're going to be butchering Feist, so be there for that. Hey, oh wait, I already said that. The dragons look cool for the most part, says Shield Wall of Dragons, but they need to lose the turkey neck and snaggle teeth. Oh, I am going to yield to your knowledge. When it comes to some of the more technical aspects of these, I don't know too much. Just the same way in real history, I kind of suck about, it was this kind of longbow and this kind of sword and all that. I'm not into some of those details. So I bow down to you about that. And maybe I'll look into it. Maybe I'll look into that. It is writing that sucks. Yeah. Yeah, the writing that sucks. And you see, here's the thing. When you're an actor, your job is to read what you are told. Your job is to do what you are told. Often in these things, even the directors don't have control. I think it's very telling that 2 big actors from first season said, fuck this, I'm out, and they let them go. 'Cause when they got cast for these roles, many of them didn't even know what they were being cast for. They didn't see any scripts. They didn't know what they were in for. Norporial says, "I am of the camp that Wheel of Prime is worse than Rings of Power." A hot take, I think. Well, I cannot speak from knowledge there because I don't watch sorry, I'm still reading the Robert Jordan books, and I am not watching an ounce of the TV show because I have been told, A, it might ruin it for me the same way it ruins people's will to watch, but 2, I've been informed that because they mix around some of the events and characters, it might inadvertently spoil things, and that I want to have my first impression being the book. Oh, everyone's saying hi. Yay, rage is good. No, rage is cool. Oh no, rage is cool. Yes. You see, that's where commas matter. It was so much fun. Me like you to read. Yes, we do. Be right back. Oh, thank you. Back. How far are you in the Wheel of Time? I need to start the Lord of Chaos soon. Oh, I am in the second book, The Great Hunt. So I have not finished it. I don't talk too much about my personal life, but you can't make this crap up. Well, never mind about I won't go into detail, but as I was trying to read and trying to get all this stuff together, I had not one, not two, not three, but four family members or cousins with cancer, two with brain tumors. Okay, this all hit at the same time, and then my kitty cat passed away, who I've had for 20 years. I still have my other one. He's my resident psychopath, but still, it was rough. And then I had surgery with a 2-month recovery. So it sucked. But I'm trying to get back into this. That's why I've been reading things like the Dritz books from R.A. Salvatore. They're kind of light. So I've been able to do that. But yeah, I want to get back into the Great Hunt because it's great. And his mythology is great. I really like Robert Jordan's outlook. I think that we actually, frankly, have some similarities. He was a high church Anglican Episcopalian, and I am a Roman Catholic, but a Roman Catholic that was formed in the Anglican Communion. And we actually have more in common with each other, high church Anglicans and Roman Catholics, than Roman Catholics in name only. So I really dig his outlook on good and evil. And I think that he made a happy death. Very moving to me. I never read Wheel of Time, but I could tell, says Shield Will of Dragons, that I could tell there was no way the main characters were written the way the show portrayed them within the first 20 minutes. Yeah. Because no one would have read them. And speaking of which, you want to talk about Beloved. I think the first one came out 90s, early 90s. So people have been reading them. And then it concluded in 2014 after the death of Robert Jordan. So we're talking 20, 25 years of people's lives. And then they do a TV show and then they do this. I love the way Brandon Sanderson is pretty much taking his gloves off. The Great Hunt is my favorite so far. Yeah, I think it's better than the first one. Though the first one, I couldn't put it down. And I'd read it a long time ago, but I completely forgot it. But the second one is things moving along. Let me put it to you that way. That book was great from start to finish, says Nordporial Lifeform. I don't feel the same about the subsequent books. I love book three's ending. Yes, I have been told by readers that the middle books kind of meander. I'll be very curious though, because my experience will be I will be reading them straight through if I can just go and start to read. So I don't have to wait. 20 years is a long full life for a cat. Yeah. I mean, that little girl, she was something else. I do have a tribute to her on my shorts, and I was going to do a stream talking about it, but I don't think I could handle talking about it. I still really can't. But yeah, she was something special, and was kidney failure. And I knew. I knew when it happened, and I even knew I'd even told the vet. I knew when she took the turn, I was going to do it sooner rather than later. And she did. Just one day, it happened. And I'm like, okay, little girl, we're going to go to sleep. And that's how it happened. I'm still recovering, though. Reniel said, "Sorry, I meant having no rage is cool. I feel like I feel better with positivity." Oh, gotcha. Understood. Well, I rage in the sense of sometimes you have to get it off your chest. That's why I wanna keep doing these musings. Maybe if I get it off my chest less, but you're right. We need more positivity. I think oh, wait, are you referring to, like, some of the rage against movies, against certain movies, even when the movies are good? I have been noticing, Precious. 2013 was when Memory of Light was published. Oh, thank you. It's 2013. I feel books 4 and 5, says Nordporial, meander. Book 4 is widely loved, and I am just not in that boat. No. Book 6 is considered the best by a lot of my associates. I hope I can agree, but I don't think it will surpass The Great Hunt in my eyes. Oh, interesting. Prophet Rage is always entertainment. Oh gosh, he was losing his crap. Yeah. No, we how do I say this? We rage porn, does that make sense? And when it's not maybe sincere, like you've heard me raging about House of the Dragon, but you've also heard me say when House of the Dragon was good. There have been some movies that I liked. I liked Barbie. I knew its flaws and talked about it. I talked about it in my stream, The Good, the Bad, and the Cognitive Dissonance, but it was a good movie, objectively speaking. What's another one I liked? Oh, the Fallout. I liked it. I thought it was good. Yeah. But it is good to read good stuff. For example, I've already talked about the Dritz books, Forgotten Realms. Read those. If you can go to a thrift store or secondhand bookstore and buy the original covers, you will not regret it. Also, what else do we have here that I've been reading that's made me happy? Oh, well, the Feist books. I just got done reading like 24 of them. I mean, it took me about 2 years. What an epic series. The original Dragonlance. Oh, it's so good. And it'll make you happy. It'll make you cheer. Let me put this is how good the Icewind Dale trilogy was by R.A. Salvatore. There were parts where I was literally ready to cheer and clap. But since I'm alone in my living room, it would have been kind of weird. That's how good parts of it are. You can start with the Icewind Dale trilogy easily because that's the way it was first done. But he also did a prequel series about the dark elves. That's how I started. So I was able to do it in that order. But if you only want to read a trilogy, read the Icewind Dale trilogy. What else? What else is good? What's good to muse upon? Well, I've already mused upon things like the Olympics and glasslighting. Oh, yeah. I made a meme. Oh, shoot. My foot. I made a meme. I'm probably going to put it out on my Twitter because I'm just getting so annoyed. I mean, and this goes for people that sometimes are even saying that they respect Tolkien. And it says what this loser didn't understand the writings of J.R.R. Tolkien, and the picture is of J.R.R. Tolkien. Because, that's the same thing along some of these Olympic gaslighting. These losers didn't understand painting and having like Raphael, Michelangelo. This Lutheran loser didn't understand church organ music, and it's J.S. Bach. This loser didn't understand settings of the Mass, and it's Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. That's the kind of gaslighting that these people are doing. Didn't you know about Norman mythology? No, I never knew. No, we never knew. It's like, Jeannie Mac. Such ignorance. Read some Thomas Aquinas, people. Though it'll take you the rest of your life. All right. So I've talked about that. I've talked about some movies. I talked about 1,120. Oh, you know what? Form for 1,100. I get to the year of the Battle of Agincourt. I am sorry, French people, if I mispronounce this. Though there was a French person that got pissy with me today. He was like, if you understand French, look at this. And then he said, if you don't, you can get a friend to help you. And I wrote him back, well, it was explained very well in what I said. If you don't speak English, Get someone to help you. Jeannie Mac, don't do that to me. I actually do understand French. I can't really speak it, though. Okay, I can technically speak it from a certain point of view, but it's kinda cringe. It hurts my friends' ears. Okay, Form 112S is a required IRS tax return document businesses registered as corporations need to report any profits, issues, and deductions for the fiscal years. You see, the more you know. The more you know. Lord Poyle says, "Oui, merci." Yeah. That was one of those guys that was like, "Don't you know about Dionysus?" And I was like, "Who the hell do you think wrote painted, one of the versions of Feast of the Gods?" It's like kinda like that Da Vinci Code nonsense. They just think they can make up stuff and then say, "Oh, yeah, we never thought about any of that stuff." And then they gaslight you and say, "It's not true. He says it's not true." And it's like, "No, he actually said it was true," but I digress. And it's real people. Saint Mary Magdalene, I mean, come on. Listen, if Jesus Christ was married to Saint Mary Magdalene, let's just say he was. If you know even the first thing about Catholics and people related to Jesus, what do you think we would have done with Saint Mary Magdalene? Would we have covered it up? Or would we have made her even higher of a saint than she already is? Her relics would have been even more important. We wouldn't have hid it, and unscrupulous monks and stuff would have really exploited it. People don't understand it, and I'm fine with people not understanding Catholicism. There's lots of things I don't understand, but if you don't understand it, then don't talk about it. Oh gosh, I'm losing people talking about Jesus. A loaf de bread soup. Oh, Charlie Brown and friends. S'il vous plaît. I mean, okay, I'm like, what the hell? Canonized. Yeah. Well, yeah. And she is canonized. She's a canonized saint. See, that's the other thing. It's like, listen, we venerate this woman and we know what happened to her. It's not a secret. But again, if she were, like I said, look what we do to the mother of Jesus. Would we have hidden it or would we have exploited it? Or unscrupulous people would have exploited it. Because if that's what happened, that's what happened. You got to be rooted in history. I've got rooted in history and it ruined my life. St. John Christendom liturgy for every word, every week. Darn right. I grew up Orthodox. Yes, yes, yes. I'll tell you what, my brother, if you're still practicing, well, you're still my brother. Yeah, Orthodox is amazing. Yeah, the liturgy of St. John Christendom is so beautiful. And, we're having liturgy issues in the Roman Rite right now because Francis apparently doesn't know he's head of the Latin Rite. And so, but yeah, the St. John Christendom liturgy is probably close to heaven on earth. I have had the privilege of going to mass in the Byzantine Rite, which I know is not Orthodox. Those are the ones that did not break away from communion with Rome. And so as a Roman Catholic, as a Latin Rite Roman Catholic, I can go to the mass and they're cool with it. And we're cool with it because we are in communion. And so I can experience the Byzantine Rite liturgy. And like I said, heaven on earth. Sacraments equal mysteries. Yes, yes, I love it. Yeah. Doesn't that make more sense? Because we can't really comprehend it. I mean, we can comprehend it somewhat with our reason, but there's always that level. There's always that extra level of we can't comprehend it. I talked with Pip, says Norporeal Life, about religion on my member stream a few weeks ago. Oh, cool. Well, I do a whole series on Catholic explaining because that's what I do. I used to do that for a living, but I don't talk about that too much. Yeah, it's fun. And the reason why I call it Catholic explaining, because sometimes some people have asked to come on that aren't Catholic because, hey, let's have a discussion. It's like that's something for another day because Catholic explaining is really Catholics just explaining it. And the reason I do that is because sometimes you just don't want to argue. You just don't want to argue. And sometimes you just want to share in love. Um, but yeah, definitely. Hey, I'd love to talk orthodoxy because I love orthodoxy. And I think we're we're pretty darn close. Well, people misunderstand that the split between the churches, the apostolic churches, is similar to the Reformation. It is not. I need to brush up on my Christian denominations. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like I said, you've got the apostolic churches and then you've got the rites. Maybe that's something else I need to do. I might have to bring Odin on to help me. There's more than 20 rites in the Catholic Church that are under the Pope of Rome. So like Catholics can go to all the different ones. The biggest one is the Latin Rite, which is what I'm a part of, which most people are a part of, especially in the West. And there are different liturgies within the Latin Rite. For example, you do have the extraordinary form, which for some reason Pope Francis has been trying to restrict, but it's not working out very well. Then you have the ordinary form, which is what you'll mostly see. And there's a Dominican rite that obviously Dominicans do. And what do they call it? The ordinariate form, which is the liturgy kind of based on the Sarum, mostly on the High Anglican liturgy, so many people were converting that they were forming parishes and joining the church and got permission from first John Paul II and then from Benedict to use the Anglican liturgy within the Roman Rite of the Catholic Church. So that's also Latin Rite. They think they are smart, ambushing Vigar. Oh no, we've got Aemon Targaryen. We have a troll in the house. Yeah. Now the different Latin, like I said, I know the Latin Rite. That's the one I know the best. And then I've been to the Byzantine Rite. I've been to it's the one that's based on Lebanon. Maronite Rite. They do the Eucharistic prayer in Aramaic. All right, I need to learn more of Catholicism. I was baptized as an infant. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's funny because I think that some Orthodox and all that, we also consider each other Catholic. Well, we share the sacraments, but we don't do intercommunion. Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. Well, if you want to, look at Catholic explaining or look up Dr. Scott Hahn. He really explains it well. And then you've got the Christian denomination. See, this is where things get really confusing. Sometimes they're Protestant, but trust me, you take a high church Anglican and a Southern Baptist, they're not going to have a lot in common. I like to call them second cousins and first cousins, rather first cousins, second cousins. Because if you're looking at the Reformation, the way it happened in England, you have, Roman Catholic. Yay, we're all Roman Catholic. We all know what we are. Then they split, and now we call it Anglicanism or Episcopalianism in America. I don't know what else they call it because I don't know. They're like first cousins. We're split, but darn, we're close. And then there's the Methodists. They're the second cousins. Closer. And, they have prima scriptura instead of sola scriptura, for example. Not sola fideism. But, you're going to find sola fideism more in other Protestant denominations. And there's, I don't know, thousands and thousands of them. And then there's predestination with the Calvinists. Big deal. 1 hour mark. Thank you very much. Shield Wall of Dragon says, yeah, Catholicism was weird to Protestants. There's so much that Protestants don't do. Yes. And, I used to be a Protestant, so I know exactly what you're talking about. That a lot of it is the worship, the primary form of worship. Correct me if I'm wrong, because it depends on the denomination. It's so hard to just say Protestant. That it's word-based. Rather, you hear the word, and you hear the preaching. You worship Jesus in your song and your lips, which is beautiful and great. We take it the next step that we do the Eucharist. So in the Mass, You'll see that Catholics will do the word and the worship and the preaching and then bring it into the word made flesh in the Eucharist all the time. But yeah, we have a lot of symbols and things because understand, remember where we come from. We're 2,000 years old and we have all these different cultures. And before the printing press, how did people understand things? Well, most people couldn't read. Most people couldn't have a book. We didn't have the printing press. The Bible would be chained up in the church. Yeah, you could go and check it out if you read Latin. Latin was like English back then. That's what everyone spoke it or could read it. So what did you have? You had pictures, you had paintings, you had statues. So yes, very different sensibilities. Protestants, yes. Amen. Watch out for your brother. Damn right. Don't kill him. Quit blowing him up. Shieldwell Dragon said, but I sit in more Catholic churches than any other kind because they have so many historical ones. Yes. You see, there we go. And the art in them. That's why it is such a crime what's happening in France and here in America too. For some reason, they won't prosecute them. A lot of these churches, because they are so old, like let's just pretend you're an atheist. You don't care. And I know atheists that think like this, but they're like, it's a museum. These churches are museums. Notre Dame will never get it back. It's like they burned the Da Vinci, the Last Supper. I mean, you can't get it back. And it's beautiful. Everything is touch, taste, smell. If Shieldwell is still here, not Shieldwell, rather Norporial. I mean, Orthodox, we think we do it a lot. Holy crap. I mean, the Orthodox, man, they go overboard. And they do a cool thing when you receive the Eucharist. They do it by intinction, but they dip it in the wine and the bread, the blood, the body and the blood in a spoon, and then they put it in. You will get that at the Byzantine Rite as well. So if you're a Roman Catholic in communion with Rome, you can go to a Byzantine Rite one and experience that. Shieldwell Dragon says, yeah, Lutheran services are pretty basic. No holy water and crossing cells, no individual confessions. Yes. Yeah, no oracular confessions. Yes. Some of the liturgy, though, is pretty liturgical, if you will. And it depends on what kind of Lutheran you are, because I think they've split as well. But from what I understand, the confession is at the beginning. It's a general confession, which is actually what we do as well. But we also have auricular confession as a sacrament. But if I'm correct, because I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in Lutheran church. I mean, I've been a Catholic for 20 years now. No. Wait a second. I'm going to have been a Catholic for 30 years. No. Yes. It's this year. Oh my gosh. I'm old. 94, 24. Son of a gun. Well, there you go. You kind of forget. They spoon feed you. Yep. Isn't it awesome? It's such a thing of humility. And you know how the Lord says, unless you become as a little child, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Yeah. That's one of those things some people are like, well, where does it say in the Bible that you do that? It's like, it doesn't have to be in the Bible. It doesn't say in the Bible that you put it in those little cups either. And I'm not talking about, well, I'm talking about someone in particular, but no one in the chat right now. It's like, come on, Google, which makes me think they actually don't want to know the answer. Norporial says, I've gotten sick from that approach. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Well, yeah. Intinction, now at the ordinary form, not ordinary form, the ordinariate form, they do intinction on the tongue. Well, actually, every time intinction is done, it needs to be on the tongue. But yeah, I still feel the power of God when I visit a church of any kind. I particularly feel the Southwest ones in the Adobe style. Darn right. Well, what is it? Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am with them. The Spirit. Notorial Life Form says, sharing the spoons, my priest eventually dropped it in our mouths instead of contact. I was an altar boy, I had the cloth in case of drippage, seeing the insides of too many mouths. Haha. Yes. And actually that's good. Yeah, they do have a cloth and stuff. We have a corporal, I don't know what the word is. Yeah. Now, in the ordinary form of the Latin Rite Mass, it is, you may receive in the hand. I tend to do that if there is not a corporal thing available, because I do not want the Eucharist to drop. Yeah, sharing the spoons. Yeah, that can be an issue. But, sometimes it's a matter of faith. The Lutherans do recite the sign of the cross once in a while. Yes. Yeah, you see, that's what I'm saying is it can with Protestants, yet a person has to be, or I rather try to be cautious because there are so many denominations. And even within the denomination, they can have different customs. Like, for example, the Methodists. I have a lot of in my family that are Methodist and even some Methodist preachers. There are some Methodist congregations, for example, that do communion every time, kind of like what we do at mass. And there's some that only do it like 2 or 3 times a year. It depends, yes. I went to Lutheran school. Oh, yay. Well, cool. Well, there you go. Yeah. And I think that a lot of the liturgy is very beautiful because here's the thing. You got Martin Luther. He was a Catholic before he broke off. So a lot of those things you're going to see crossover. I was talking earlier about J.S. Bach. I mean, look at it, man. I mean, and we play his music all the time in church. I had to learn Lutheran catechism. Oh, well, then you know a lot more than I do. You know a lot more than I do. I have never really been to too much Lutheran worship. I have only studied Reformation theology at the time of Martin Luther. I did that in my history. My churches mainly I went to, I've already said Anglican, and I've been to Methodist, Presbyterian once or twice. The Lutherans recite the Apostles' Creed. Orthodox recite the Nicene Creed. What do the Roman Catholics recite? Well, you do both. In the liturgy at Mass, we recite the Nicene Creed. So we do the whole thing. The Apostles' Creed very rarely can be used if there's a majority of children in the congregation, which is incredibly rare. When we say the rosary, though, we say the Apostles' Creed. That's a prayer, though, not the liturgy. Is it all the Nicene Creed as well? Yes. Luther's 95 Theses. Yeah. Which actually I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what he actually wrote in those because it wasn't a lot of complaints against the abuses because we all agreed about the abuses. That's why the Catholic Reformation happened. The Catholic Reformation happened before. And in many ways, if Luther had stayed within the Catholic Church, he would have been remembered as a Catholic reformer. A lot of it had to do with things that touched on justification. So some of the theses were accepted, some of it weren't. But yeah, it's a very complicated situation. And there's been a lot of really good discussions about mutual understandings of justification and coming closer there. There's been a lot of good ecumenical dialogue. I nearly said the Apollo Creed. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I did Catholic explaining the Rosary with the Apostles' Creed, and it's good. It's good to remember what we believe. What I like about the Apostles' Creed. It's like an altar call every time you go to mass. When the the Nicene Creed is said on major feast days and on the Sundays. So, like, do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? I accept him every time I go to mass. And then when you have to go to communion, you have to seal it with a deal. They go the body of Christ and you have to say amen. So that's what I love about it. It keeps you honest and it's very beautiful. And this is where the Lord of the Rings is so cool because J.R. Tolkien, he threw in some random dates. And it's like, what are dates doing in here in his appendices and things? It's like, yeah, because those were the dates that have to do with the liturgy. March 25th is when Frodo destroyed the ring. And we all know what March 25th is. It's, for the Feast of the Incarnation. That is the only time in the ordinary form that we fall on our knees at incarnatus est. So yay, Tolkien. Selling indulgences was a big no-no for Luther. Oh, yeah. And it was a big no-no for the church, too. It was huge. And you see, the German church was very corrupt, specifically, because it depends on which country you look at. Like England, for example, was going through a huge revival. Germany was having some issues. Yeah. And selling indulgences is such a blasphemy. And any kind of thing resembling that, that's why they put it into the code in the Council of Trent. I mean, it's a form of simony. and unscrupulous people were taking advantage of the commoners or pardons for indulgences. Not sure about that. Are you saying that again, I'm thinking off the top of my head. I didn't memorize all of the theses that people were confusing indulgences with forgiveness. And we still see that today. A lot of people think that's what an indulgence is. And I think that they were taking advantage of these people. I mean, there were fake relics. I mean, it was scandalous. And even to this day, there are some relics we're not sure of, but we keep them because what if they are real? You know, we don't want to mess with that. All right. That's one of the cool things about living in modern times. We actually can really be sure. The church forgot that grace was a thing. Yes. Well, and this is the thing, certain people, because grace was a thing. It's just, I mean, it never changed, but yeah, there was a lot of corruption. And I mean, think about the revival that's been happening in the Roman Catholic Church in America. It started in the late 80s and early 90s. The the It happens. We always have to remind the church who she is. Yeah. And again, different experiences. If you were in the church in Germany versus a church in England versus a church in Spain or Portugal or Italy. Yeah. Gosh, those were good times, weren't they? I didn't live in them, but I sure studied them. I need to read up on other issues like that Luther had with the church. Yeah. Well, it was sola fideism. And that was what he was ultimately declared as a heretic for. A lot of people think, I'm not saying that you necessarily, that, oh, they didn't want to hear his problems or they didn't want to read the Bible. Let people read the Bible. That's ridiculous because history tells us the Bible was everywhere. If you could read, you could read it in Latin. And there were approved translations, but they had to be approved because if you were going to mess around with the translation, like Luther actually did, he changed some key phrases because he thought, oh, well, this better expresses sola fideism in Romans, and it wouldn't be approved. So we did have vernacular, and part of what did come, a good thing that came from in reaction to the Protestant Reformation, is in English, we got the biggest badasses English translation of the Bible in was it 1580, the Douay-Rheims? I mean, long before the King James Bible. So we kinda, in a way, helped each other out, didn't we? Yeah, there were, like, 4 spears of destiny at one point. Yeah, and it's complicated, and that's what I try to tell people. Nothing's ever simple, and sometimes people say, "Well, we gotta simplify it." It's like, no, at the same time, we can't simplify it because you need to understand it. Because if you don't understand it, then you're doing a disservice. I am so glad that people smarter than me wrote all this stuff down. And because I'm not a theologian, I'm an amateur theologist, but yeah, no, I don't I don't know the stuff. I couldn't have come up with this stuff. I don't know how to read the original Greek or Hebrew or any of that kind of stuff. That's not my territory. But yeah, I can read the Bible. I like to read the Bible in Latin. It's fun. I won't lie, it's memorized Latin because I have a lot of the Bible memorized in English. And so do I read Latin? Like if you were to throw Latin in front of me and say, "Hey, what does that say?" I don't know. But if it's, you know, Matthew 16:16, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is." I memorize it. Yeah, oh yeah. And it's fun. Theology's fun. Well, me and Odin go into it in the Catholic explaining, and we're walking a tightrope because when you're trying to refute something, sometimes people can get offended. And we were really trying hard to say, we're not trying to offend anyone here. But we talk about sola fideism and sola scriptura. Again, for me, it wasn't a big shift because I never believed in sola fideism and I believed in prima scriptura. Primo scriptura. So when and primo scriptura does recognize some tradition with capital T. So joining the church, it wasn't a big deal. History made history changed my mind, and reading the Bible. I actually really read the Bible, but that's a whole other ball game. And that's another misconception. Sometimes people think Catholics don't read the Bible. It's like, yes, we do. What's going on is we're having different interpretations of the Bible. It even has an Inquisition trial side quest where you have to help a woman navigate the trial. Oh, wait, sorry. There is a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance made by a game development in the Czech Republic. The game has lots of Christianity, great game. Oh my goodness, Inquisition. You want to know a real life version of that? Saint Teresa of Avila. She's a doctor of the church and a Catholic reformer. She was brought before the Spanish Inquisition twice. Yeah, real life. It happened. Yeah, I love Teresa of Avila. She's my girl. That's why I spell my name the way I do. In English, we usually spell it T-H-E-R-S-A. I spell it T-E-R-S-A from St. Teresa of Avila. Because she's badass. And it's Spanish. Technically, I should be pronouncing my name Teresa, but guess what? I speak English. And that's what I say. The Old Testament is much larger in the Catholic Bible. That is correct. The Septuagint. Yeah, that was removed at the time of the Reformation. Yes. It's good stuff. There's some good stuff in there. Yeah. The Maccabees. All the stuff with not the Passover. What's the other one that Jews do? I'm a horrible person. Oh, Hanukkah. Yeah, that's in there. The game takes place in 1403, so no split of the church, I think. Ah, yeah. Interesting. Is that the Inquisition each country had their own Inquisition. It was, believe it or not, it was a kind of a secular thing, sort of. It's an issue, but it's not simple. It's not simple. Yeah. Well, there were different, what we would call heresies. The Albigensians. Well, the Arian heresy, that's how we got the Nicene Creed. That's how we got the definition of the Trinity, was because the Arians were saying that Jesus was the Son of God, but he was not equal to God. And so, Outlaw Bill is Hill. Hello and congratulations, Miss Smart Muses, 1,000 plus subs. Yes, I do have it. And thank you for being here. It is 1,120. It's kicked off the anarchy with House of the Dragons. It takes place in Bohemia. Yeah, oh yeah, that makes sense. I will not lie. My knowledge of the different inquisitions is not up to snuff. For one thing, for crying out loud, there's only so much history a girl can know. But yeah, that's good stuff. When I say good stuff, good history. I'm not saying it was a good thing. Obviously not. And we have far more sensibilities. Oh, it's just so fascinating to me. Again, I told you my theses were on this. Of how what happened at the time of the Reformation all the way into England. Because remember, in England, a reason why so many English came over to America, English Catholic, well, first of all, Catholicism was outlawed. In Ireland, it was outlawed. And then, you had the issue of going into America and not being allowed to go into different colonies. So that's kind of how Maryland got going. Now, I want to also say it wasn't just Catholics, but if you weren't a part of the established church, you had to be part of the established church in England. That's why pilgrims went. So there were all these issues. And then when the Glorious Revolution happened and just all of that, like Maryland was the first one that pretty much let any Christian denomination to worship without being punished. Rhode Island was a close second. And finally, with all of that and all the writings and the going back and forth, there was this great, almost ecumenical moment, though it wasn't religious, it was secular, when our founding fathers wrote the First Amendment to the Constitution and said, there will be no state church, and Congress will make no law prohibiting the exercise thereof. And it's been interpreted since then by all the justices that it, not just Congress, no law can be made. That was a masterpiece of history. True separation of church and state in the best sense of the word. If you help her correctly, she gets released. If you do it the worst, she has her tongue out. Oh my. What a fun game. My goodness. All right. Speaking of which, it is nearly 2 hours in. We're coming up on 3 o'clock. and my voice is starting to go. I usually talk until my coffee runs out, but my coffee is cold. So I'm going to ditch you all. I want to say thank you. Wow, this was a great musings. We mused about a whole bunch of stuff. And I want to thank everyone that showed up. We had Shield Wall of Dragons. We had the Outlaw Bill. Thank you for being here. We had Nordporial Lifeform, our resident Orthodox, I believe. And we had Ancient One. We had Aemon Targaryen. It was such an honor to have the Prince, the Kinslayer, came and visited my stream. Rennie L. A lot of people were popping in and saying hi. Thank you, Nordporial, for giving me the $2 super sticker. And I believe I got everyone. Oh, Salty Traveling Sea. If I missed anyone, it is not my intent. Of course, how could I have forgotten Chris Sant? Thank you so much for being here. If I miss anyone, it's not my intent. Sometimes things move. I realize, says Nordporial Lifeform, I realized I was unsubbed. I remedied that. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I don't know why YouTube does that. Great stream, Teresa. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I am so excited. Have a good one. Brian. Oh, is that your name? Did I keep calling you in order? Did I mess that up? I'm sorry if I did. But thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm really excited. I'm the only Catholic in my family, but my family has been so cool about it. So my sister is going to be able to go to St. Teresa of Avila's thing in Spain. Now she's going for other reasons, but she told me she would light a candle for me and get me a holy medal. And I'm just like, I love my family so much. So I'm really excited because I have never been able to go to Avila to visit my Teresa. I have been to see my little flower, who I'm really named for, but Teresa of Lisieux. But yeah, that's exciting for me. Only one more like to go for 10 like hype, everyone. So will you give Miss Martin Muse's current live stream a 10 like hype? Yes, please do. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. And check and see if you are unsubscribed, because apparently Nordporial was unsubscribed. Now, tonight it's going to be Sporking, and does he have it? He does. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link. It's become an ongoing joke about Neurotic if he will be able to come. I understand that he is a very busy man, but it'll definitely be me, and I know many other people, and you're going to see different views, and I think that's what's kind of exciting. Some people actually like the show. Some people are show only readers, and some are book readers like me who hate it. So here is the link to Sporking's live stream. It is on this evening. So if you wouldn't mind going and maybe giving a wave, even if you do not watch it. So that's it. I really like this different religion discussion, because we all do have different points of view. And I think we need to listen to each other. I think that's a good thing. I'm glad that we live where we do. That's why I'm fighting so hard for the First Amendment. People forget the First Amendment is two parts, no state church and no laws prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And we've been having some trouble with that lately. And I think that's something we can definitely unify on. Oh, that's me. Okay, that's Sporking Stream. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain to be good to each other, and maybe just read Fire and Blood. And also, if you have an heir to the throne, for crying out loud, don't put him and a whole bunch of siblings on the same boat.